And gadgets can come in handy in disasters, and then again, they can maybe go flat in disasters too. That's where our gadget guy, Mathan Allington, comes in. Good morning, Mathan.
Good morning.
You've had an interesting look for us, sort of the way in which new media and a massive storm can come together.
Yeah, certainly. So Google, which we've all heard about, they put a lot of their resources and their power of information research and just collating all the information together into a Google crisis map. And I've seen these a few times during situations like earthquakes, bushfires, and in this case, in hurricane or the superstorm. So they, on google.org/crisis maps, they have a map of the north to east of the US, and this map gives you access to a lot of public information, and there's a whole bunch of layers and tick boxes, so you can get things such as power outage information, emergency shelters. There's also things on a social media level. You can check related YouTube videos that have been allocated a location, so you can actually see what people are seeing on the ground as well.
Yeah, so at the moment it would be a very colourful map with something like 8 million people without power, and some of them for days, but at least you'd know where they were if you had rallies there.
Yes, yeah, most certainly. It's just all public service information. That I guess the one catch is for those in the area without the power, they might not be able to access the information unless their local cell towers are still operational. But as we've experienced in Queensland and Victoria as well during floods, cell towers aren't immune to these situations as well.
No, and then your batteries go flat.
That's right.
Yes, yeah, they do. And I've had some experience in emergency situations as well, and so you're trying to run everything off car batteries. That's because that sometimes is the only power source you've got is a running petrol motor.
And Mathan, yesterday, where I think maybe gadgets and storms go too far, there was a guy chasing the storm, live streaming on his iPhone. And I thought, well, not for love or money or any popularity would I be doing that. I mean, is this a common practice?
I can't say I actually saw that video, but yeah, I would go on the personal safety side. But yeah, people are going YouTube, and the possibility of a video going viral, that is an attractive thing to a lot of people, to try and get that 15 seconds of fame or to have their video broadcast on news services. So
where were you? You mentioned that you've had some personal experience of trying to keep your gear running. Where were you involved?
Yeah, my family are based in Christchurch during the earthquake there. So at the time I was actually in Sydney, but I managed to get a flight over a couple of days later, and the family home was lost. But in that time we were living without power for about a week and without running water. And so we were getting every sort of adapter we could to try and run everything off the car battery, and trying to get water and all of those sorts of standard supplies.
Yeah, you'd be feeling it then. You'd know what these people are about to experience. They're going to wake up and they're talking about the power in some places being out for days. That's exactly what happened to you? Yeah,
it's quite a surreal experience, really. You can imagine being in Adelaide, and it's a place you've grown up in, and where you know everything, and all of a sudden you don't have power, which drives a lot of what you do every day without really thinking about it too much. So yeah, it just changes the whole experience of where you are, and all of a sudden it's just all changed.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand, the old steam wireless, the old radio with the batteries in it, presumably comes in handy in these cases.
Yes, yeah. The advent of mobile phones, etc., for social media, but when those towers go down, you are going back to the traditional emergency radio, battery operated, just running off one tower with generators if necessary. So that is yes, still the backup system, and a great way for the information to get across, because the social media platforms aren't infallible.
Using Twitter, Mathan, I'm fascinated to find out about using hashtags for local streets. I wouldn't have thought, and I'm clearly wrong here, but I wouldn't have thought you'd go down that locally. But obviously you can, certainly, and people do.
Yeah, I could say during the Christchurch earthquake, while I was in Sydney at the time, I got a phone call from a parent letting me know what had happened to the house, and trying to get information, and like TV or print and online, some of those sources might have been a couple of hours behind being able to generate the stories and get them up online. So using something like Twitter, I was able to narrow down to suburbs and use keyword searches within Twitter to find information based off the area of Christchurch the family were. And in a local case, people like the Country Fire Service have a Twitter service as well to broadcast alerts. So it's a great way just to jump on Twitter and type in keywords, either a hashtag or just a name of a suburb or a street. And in those emergent situations, you'll find out what people are saying about them.
In the meantime, back up with the big old media in a way. It's been extraordinary the way places like the New York Times, the Washington Post and so on have, I think it's called aggregated, haven't they? They've actually pulled all these new bits together and then stick it up on their website. It's extraordinary to watch it happening. Literally, I just, for instance, found something that was written about a minute ago about an incident in the States. But they do it well, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. And places like the New York Times and Wall Street Journal have also removed their paywalls. So it's a model we're moving towards where you pay for news or access to the news. But in these emergency situations, they're removing those restrictions so that information is freely available in a public safety sort of reason. Yeah.
Hey, Mathan, before you go, last week iPad Mini came out. Heard any rumours about the sales, how they went, and were they pleased with them?
Yeah, so they've sold out online, and now it's saying about a 2 to 3 week wait for if you're to order it online. So it's coming out second, so on Friday. So if anyone wanted to get one immediately, they'll have to line up rather than being able to order it online and have to wait 2 or 3 weeks.
Mathan, the next model of that would have to include a phone, wouldn't it? Where you can just, it just becomes a Samsung Note almost, a big telephone with iPad capability.
Yeah, you would think so, because Samsung have gone down that track, but I would think Apple will stay away from that as much as possible, because the iPhone is the main seller, and it's been their bridge into the general audience.
All right, we'll see where it goes. Mathan, thanks a lot for your time.
Pleasure, thank you.
Our gadget coach, Mathan Allington there.
It's easy with Gadget Coach.